Godongwana has outlined the government's spending priorities during that speech.
Though several government ministers have welcomed the budget presentation, some in Parliament aren't impressed. Newzroom Afrika's Tondani Takalani filed our report.
We welcome the budget from the Department of Justice because we believe it will enable us to deploy the resources to the necessary law enforcement agencies like the NPA.
Justice Minister Ronald Lamula may be one of the very few in Parliament to endorse the latest medium-term budget policy statement. Opposition parties are less enthused by Enoch Godongwana's presentation, with the EFF's Floyd Shivambu saying the finance minister's speech does not inspire confidence.
There is nothing that has been presented that says we are going to resolve the energy crisis, like particularly Eskom crisis of its inability to provide electricity. And without electricity, you cannot grow the economy. And if you do not grow the economy, you cannot collect federal revenue. And you can therefore not be able to provide basic social services to our people.
The Freedom Front Plus shares the same sentiments. Party leader Peter Groenewald says government needs to take bold steps to address fundamental issues.
Well, firstly, I want to say there are actually two main issues here. The firstly is the government debt that is in the increase. We're going to turn around about 4.7 trillion rand. The service cost alone, we talk of 307 billion annually. Now, when we talk about the SOEs, the state-owned enterprises, referring to Eskom, it is time that the government must take a bold decision and privatize all the SOEs. In this budget alone, they're budgeting an additional 35 billion rand for state-owned entities like Denel, Transnet and all that sort of things. So the big problem is really the government debt.
Godongwana has asserted that government revenue will exceed spending for the first time in 15 years by the end of 2023. He views this as the success of his department's fiscal consolidation project. South Africa's gross loan debt is set to stabilize at 71.4% of GDP in the 2022-2023 financial year. This, according to Godongwana, is a step towards the right direction, and his colleague at SARS agrees.
One of the clear messages is the minister's absolute resolve to improve the fiscal integrity, and he demonstrates this by taking the additional revenue that SARS has collected and allocating some of that to reducing our debt service cost, whilst also allocating some of that to burning priorities. What we take, obviously, great encouragement from is the fact that the collection efforts by SARS, with some help from the economy, but specifically the focus on compliance activities, whether it is following up debt or forensic investigation to address tax crime, lifestyle audits. These are all areas that we are sharpening our tools in, fraud risk detection, and all of these just adds a little bit more to the pool of revenue.
For Newzroom Afrika, Channel 405, I am Tondani Takalani.